First of all, it has mega. There's hardly one joint that didn't really wasn't a part of my like soundtrack of my life. Coming up in the most important years too. Like so, you know, um, Eric B and Rakim used to hang in Fort Greene Projects, which is in my neighborhood, and so like it was very much an ecosystem that was small, but everybody kind of knew each other or knew of each other. But then to see them come out with this album that just like, for me, it just was everything. That album hit it. The impact that album had on the streets at that time changed everything forever. Like in terms of the bar, like way up. It was that he has that name, the God, for a reason. Like literally, he set the bar so high, and there's still people chasing it. You know what I mean? Trying to get there. So I mean, I think that's what that album did. It changed history for hip hop. So for me, it goes beyond that because those songs take me to certain times and places and memories, right?
Mhm.
Right off
Mhm.
top, like no questions. Like you just got to give him his dap after that.
You mentioned Fort Greene. I know Eric B. and Rakim used to roll with a couple of the gangsters in Fort Greene, Killer Ben.
Mhm.
Uh, and I heard you mention that back in that day, the drug dealers were really where it was at, as far as the money you get in the flossing and stuff, not the rap. Just can you already kind of spoke to the impact of this album hitting the street, represent kind of all of that without him talking street talk, but could you describe just partying in the 80s, like what that felt like?
It was just different because hip hop was building then. So it was just such an authentic energy that was happening. New York was electric. It was a backdrop. Um, like an outside museum. You had everything from graffiti to it being gritty and grimy. But then there was a lot of money that was happening because the crack era was coming, and there was a lot of money in the streets. And it was the only time I can remember seeing correction officers hang out with like hustlers and basketball players or boxers. You could see them all posted up together at a club or whatever, and without judgment. It was a weird time, but it was a magical time, um, and then there was a support system. We didn't know what the crack era would do, and we know the impact now. But yeah, it was a time where we were, I think, as young people, um, getting our confidence muscles up. We were figuring it out, and it showed in the streets, and it showed in the businesses that were being created, and the guerrilla marketing, and all of the different ancillary branches that were created from hip hop that came out of the 80s. So, and I think the rappers that you see today and you saw in the 90s and 2000s, like all of them tried to emulate that period. So when you see the paid in movie and all of that, that was a real thing. And the rappers that wear all the truck jewelry and stuff, that came from that. So it was a whole, the hustlers did it best then, and they set that blueprint. And I think everyone's chased that since to have that kind of nostalgia in terms of present.
Got you. That's another five. All right, that takes